Okay. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Israel Ali, and I would like to welcome everyone to tonight's United Games conference call with the Savvy Concepts team. The purpose of this call is to provide you all with some insight as what the company is, provide some clarity around your role with the organization. And tonight I have asked team leaders to invite their personally sponsored affiliates and anyone who they may think would be a good fit to be an affiliate with United Games, and would like to have some more questions answered. It's extremely important that we assimilate as we get to all on the same page, looking forward to this pause that I know you guys keep hearing about. The deadline for the new affiliates is quickly approaching, and being prepared for that deadline, we definitely need a strong and sound strategy. So I want to tell everyone about a little bit about my journey and how I came to get into the United Games. Many of you who know me, you may be somewhat surprised that I would be involved in this venture, but I can kind of give you some background as to how I got started. My background is predominantly healthcare, but I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. And for the past 7 years, me and a good friend have been looking at trying to tap into the app world and looking to get some type of project off the ground. Now, during those 7 years, I saw how difficult it was to actually break into the industry and to have a viable product that would even get noticed. So when my same friend brought this opportunity to me, I was a bit skeptical, and at first I thought I was being presented with some type of multi-level marketing scheme or some type of pyramid scheme, which I'm sure all of you may have felt the same way. But because I'm like most people and tend to categorize things before I fully understand them, I wasn't interested at all. But, you know, I still gave my friend a call, told him to stop spamming his friends in a joking way, and then once I had that conversation, it started to pique my interest a bit as to how the company was developed, and basically after I looked into it, I saw what a wonderful opportunity this was, and I was blown away. So the short and simple is we are affiliates. If those of you who are already affiliates, we are affiliates with the United Games. So what is the company we call United Games? The answer is very simple. The United Games is an app development company, nothing more, nothing less. They are not a marketing company, not a sales company, not a multi-level marketing company, not a fantasy football company. They are an app development company that has created a free game that can be played interactively with a live sporting event. Instead of spending $5 to $10 million on marketing this free game, such as how Candy Crush and Pokemon Go tend to do, they have decided to use an affiliate marketing approach to their business. Now, the paradigm of business is shifting, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't realized that, you are behind the trends. I can tell you that right now. Affiliate marketing is widely used as a resource for some of the biggest companies in the world. One of them is which would be Uber, if you didn't know. Uber is the biggest transportation company in the world, and they don't own a single vehicle. So essentially, you have individuals who actually pay 20% to someone else or to another entity to drive their own car. Another huge affiliate marketing company is Airbnb. You know, they are the largest lodging and hospitality company in the world, and they don't own a significant amount of real estate at all. So these are just a few examples to show you how a company can grow huge, and all of you, I'm sure, are familiar with those two companies, and leverage the influence of the general public more than just leveraging the influence of the dollar. Candy Crush, for instance. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Candy Crush. If you're not, maybe you've been on a different planet for some time, but Candy Crush, if you don't know, makes $1.2 million a day. Now, most of you, when you hear me say that, you'll probably say, well, I've never spent a dime on Candy Crush. My friend plays it, my kids play it, and I've never seen them spend any money on it. Well, most people say that because 96% of their playership are actually free players. Only 4% of their users actually spend, on average, $5 a day. So that's over 1 million people spending money with your company every day. They have 400 million downloads to date. And so with 4%, you're looking at about 1.5, 1.6. But still, over 1 million people are spending $5 a month. And that's pretty significant. Most of you, not sure if you're into it, but Pokemon Go. Huge sensation, the biggest thing on the market right now, crashing, all the newspapers, it's everywhere. Well, CNBC just released an article back in August, and the company has made over $200 million in their first month in July. Now, if you're not familiar with apps, let me just first tell you that this is big business. I was actually, just a quick story, I was actually on the local metro here in the D.C. area, and I saw a few middle-aged white guys, and they were actually playing the app. Now, the reason why I say that is because, for me, I don't really see that demographic into app play at all. I wouldn't initially think that, but again, I was naive. And so as I heard them all talking about it, two friends asked the guy who was playing it, hey, what do you get out of that? And he said, well, I get a chance to bond with my son. Well, the guy further asked the questions like, well, what do you guys do? What do you actually get a chance to do with that game? And what he said was, I get to earn magical dust. So take a moment to think about that. You had a grown man who was playing a game for nothing other than a benefit to spend time with his son and collect magical dust. So this is what people are actually engaging with, and there's someone on the other end who's making $200 million off magical dust. So it kind of brings us to where we are now, So hopefully the majority of you already are aware of what I've mentioned, and if you haven't, and if you're not, I would definitely suggest that you get with your team leader. Make sure that you check into your back office within your website, and definitely start to get an understanding of this business very quickly, because I can tell you right now that we are going to start moving at a rapid speed. So this opportunity, once you really understand it, is what each of us has always wished we could have, right? So we've always wished at some point that, man, I wish I could have gotten in on the ground floor at Apple. I wish I could have been around when they first made that bright idea with Tesla. I wish I could have been somewhere part of a company that is now seen as a trendsetter. And so let me be very clear. This is that opportunity. But it's also needs to be said that it's a business opportunity. This is not a hustle. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a business opportunity that you should treat as such, because it takes cultivating. It takes molding. It's going to take your time to really get the most out of it. And if you aren't putting anything into it, then that will be the result. So after the call today, I want you all to think about what your approach is to this business, because many of you may not feel comfortable with speaking about it and reaching out to people and saying, hey, I'm looking for an affiliate. Hey, do you want to be my affiliate? Because it just feels uneasy. It sounds too much like direct sales. And, you may have decided at this point, I'm just going to get players. I'm just going to sit back, get players, not really going to even share the business, and that's it. And that is totally fine. One of the reasons why this is so much different than anything you've ever seen, or a lot of times, like I mentioned before, I thought it was multi-level marketing. You're not selling anything. There is nothing you have to sell. As an affiliate, you are simply getting people to play the game, and that's it. So, and you have the other side of the coin. You have other people who feel that their best approach is bringing on affiliates because they don't have a large player network, and they need others to share the app on their behalf. So whatever your approach is, understand the reason for your approach and understand that you need a plan to execute it. It is very important for you all to know when it is appropriate to talk about the game and when it is essential to discuss the business, because the game and the business are so totally different that you have to kind of know when to discuss it. Because the majority of your people who you're going to have play this game, or the people who are going to play the game in general, could care less about the business side of it. People don't care when they're getting magical dust from Pokemon who's getting paid. People don't want to hear about that their friend is getting paid off Candy Crush every time they buy the magical sucker. That is not what they want to hear. They're going to enjoy this game. If you have not seen a demo of the game, or if you were not at the Vegas conference, please get with your team leads and get with someone so you can see the demo of this game. This will be something that people will be engaged with. And if you all have not if you have no clue to this point and you're on the call and you haven't seen the game at all, then we can discuss that during the Q&A if you have any questions about that. But it's important to know, like I said before, the difference between the game and the business. Imagine if you were playing the game and you get a bunch of people to play the game and it's something that you don't have to sell. Everyone just wants to do it anyway. Well, it becomes very awkward once you're sitting at a friend's house, maybe enjoying some cold beers or, just whatever you're into, and the moment a big play happens on the screen and people are jumping around all excited, high-fiving, and because they made the right predictive call or because they know that their team has won or whatever the case may be, you look over to them and say, "You like that? Yeah, you just made me 50 cents. You have just ruined their experience with the game. You have just sucked the fun out of the free game totally, because now from this point on, they are always going to remember that every time I play this game, it's going to be making someone some money, and they can identify you. Your face is going to be imprinted in their brains. That's not fair to them. That's not fair to them. So keep the focus on the game if you're not looking to get any other affiliates. And don't mention the business at all to people, because you don't have to sell it. People are going to play it anyway. Now, for those of you who are strong affiliates, and I just want to take a moment to take my hats off to all of the affiliates that are really rocking this thing, because I have seen incredible growth, not just with my team, but the company itself, with how many individuals are really taking this business seriously and making it go to the next level. But the business itself consists of, like I mentioned before, a little bit more dedication. It consists of attending conference calls such as this, building a team of affiliates, attending conferences if you feel necessary, and most importantly, understanding the ins and outs of the app itself and the company. When you talk to sports bars or nonprofit organizations, don't get caught up into meeting don't even call a meeting unless you truly have a handle on the opportunity. That's what me and your other team leads are here for. We will talk to people or your groups on your behalf and still make sure that they're signed up under you. There are no losers in this model. We all win. I mean, we are all here to help each other, and that was one of the fascinating things that I saw when I went out to Vegas at the end of August. There were over 3,300 people, and everyone was there to help each other. There was no one hiding secrets or saying that you're going to take my people. There were actually individuals who were sharing players with others who just haven't got their feet wet yet, who just haven't gotten with a team that can provide them with the resources to get off the ground. But the fact that they were there and we were all in unison and we had the same vision, because keep in mind, everyone went to Vegas, 3,200 people went to Vegas and never saw the app. They were going to see the app. 3,300 people were all taking a trip, no matter how much it cost, from their original destination, coming from near and far. They were all there with the intentions to be a part of a company they had no idea would be successful. That is what the business is. That's what it feels like to be on the ground floor of something, and you guys are there. And so it's important to make sure that you have to kind of take a step back to really understand where you are, because it's going to feel like you're doing it for nothing. It's going to feel like you don't really know what direction to go in, and that's why we're here. We're here as a group. We're here on Boxer. We're here on different platforms to make sure that you guys are able to get what you need. So I think it's also important, with that being said, to note that systems duplicate and personalities don't. The best thing each and every one of you can do to be successful is to keep it simple. Keep it simple. Most adult-age people feel as though they can outsmart a process. They can come up with a new way to approach a business, and that's all fine. But before you can do that, you have to master the existing process first. A few of us on the team have taken the time to develop resources that are proof positive to grow the player network. I can tell you that. I have affiliates who are on my team specifically that have used some of our plans, and they have added 25 players in a matter of minutes. I've seen it happen. And all you have to do is have access to the same resources. Make sure you reach out to your team leaders again so you can get the access to the Google Drive that we have, and that has everything you need to be successful. Also, if you're not on Boxer, please connect with your team and have them added to the group. Now, if you're not familiar with Boxer, it's an additional app that you can download. There's a chat that is constantly updated with information, strategies that's shared from other affiliates in the business, and successes of others in the group, because people are adding players. People are adding affiliates. There are a number of athletes that are involved in this. And you get a chance to hear all that in real time. You get a chance to hear that Ray Lewis just joined. You get a chance to hear that Emmitt Smith can't wait to get started. Vander Holyfield is involved. So that's just a one-stop shop outside of your back office to get everything you need. Another point I want to bring up are nonprofits. If you have been an affiliate for more than, I guess, 2 weeks, you would have seen that there was some communications that come out about nonprofits and how you can leverage nonprofits to really grow your player network. As it relates to nonprofits, understand that United Games, as I mentioned before, is an app development company. They are not a sales team. They are not here to market anything. All they want people to do is play the game. Play the game. So what they are doing for all youth clubs, teams, universities, or other 501c3 organizations, they are able to sign up as an affiliate for free. No cost to them at all. So imagine what that does for the inner city youth basketball team who never has had new jerseys or new equipment or balls in the last few years. Imagine what that does for the youth football team who now they don't have to do fundraisers and stand outside of the grocery store asking for dollars so they can go to their championship game. They now have an inherent vehicle where they can have people donating to their cause every time they watch a live sporting event. That's a big deal. Because sports, no matter who you are, there is some affiliation that you have with sports. Maybe it's not you directly, but you know someone who is directly compelled to watch some sporting event. And I know right now this is football season, but sporting events transcend to so many different cultures, different moments in the year. And while we're looking at football, and I think I know we're heading into week 2 because I lost my first week of fantasy, but this is something that we are going to have an opportunity not to just leverage football or basketball, which is going to be coming up next, or Major League Soccer that's going to be released with the actual app. This is going to be an opportunity for you to leverage baseball, soccer, which 3.5 billion people are engaged in, where only 98 million people are engaged with football and basketball. This is going to be an opportunity for you to engage with cricket and every other sport that is global, because this is not just an American app. This will be a global app. There is no way that we cannot benefit from being able to have individuals in other countries and other continents being able to play this game. I have an affiliate right now who is in Iran. My goal for him is to make sure that he is getting people that I can't reach. And that's something that you should look at in your personal networks to see who do you know that has a player network that you just can't reach. It may not be them specifically, but it could be an opportunity for them to have their friends play who are huge cricket fans in India, because that's just the opportunity that exists. Another thing I want to bring up is that it's so important for you all to know that this pause is real. And and I think that's one of the mysteries that kind of come with being, that I was mentioning before, with a startup company. The pause has already been said. The company has come straight from the horse's mouth. They've determined that October will be the actual launch date of the app. Now, everyone has a huge question mark on their head. Okay, October when? When in October? Well, I have to assume that it's going to be at least an October date that's before a big game. So when I was looking at the calendar, I figured, hey, let's just say the first week of October, maybe not October 1st or October 2nd, but maybe the first full week in October, that could be the launch date, right? The company has told us that they will do a pause 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks possibly 2 weeks before they do that pause. There will be a 2 or 3 week window where all affiliates will be ceased in coming into the company, and everyone will need to erase everything on social media that even mentions the idea that you are looking for affiliates or looking for this opportunity, because again, the company does not want to sell anything. They don't even want people to know that their friends are getting paid. So if you're looking at the first week of October and you assume that 2 weeks prior to that would be, let's just say, September 21st, you have to operate on that kind of deadline. Who do we want to get as affiliates from now to October 21st? That's the safest bet. That's the only way you can protect your investment. So if you're looking at your particular personally sponsored team, how many folks have you gotten to this point? How many people have you not followed up with that just because, you just haven't had time? You haven't made time to do it, that just may not be in your personal network, and they're not going to have the opportunity, because I can guarantee you, if you have friends like mine, the moment the window is closed or the door is shut, they are going to blame you for missing the opportunity. It's going to be your fault, because they're going to say, why didn't you tell me, even though you probably sent them multiple videos, multiple text messages, had conversations with them, but they're in the business of procrastinating and waiting for someone else to make a move. And all of you on this phone call have taken that initiative not to do that. So that's going to be the major difference between your opportunity and theirs. So keeping that in mind with the close, after that, it's going to be nothing but players. I recommend that you guys, if you don't have access, please let me know, and we will make sure we get you access and find out whose team you're on and get you access. You have to take advantage of the Adding Players Manual. It is the best kept secret that I have seen, and I actually learned it from going to Vegas. When I went to Vegas, since going to Vegas maybe 3 weeks ago now, I have tripled the number of people that have been in my network. And that's all a testament to the manual that's been developed by the team and other strategic methods that were given out at the conference. So you guys have the same thing. You guys have the same resources. There is no difference between me and you. No difference between you and your personal team leader. You guys all have the same resources. So with that being said, I think we can open it up for questions. I ask that if you, once you ask, first of all, can I have everybody mute their phones, please? And if you would like to ask a question, please announce yourself, and you can share your question with the group.
All right, I got a question. I'm Lou. My name is Lou.
What's going on?
My question is, hello?
Yes.
Okay, my question is, there's going to be a point where the app reaches a level where, it maxes out its, I guess, potential for more people. Okay, so when that happens, are they still paying us? How long are they paying us? Is this for life, or how does that work?
So let me just say, when you say maxing out more people,
listen, that might not even be true. I don't even know if that's true. My point, and my question is, how long are they paying us? Is there some type of time limit? Because I'm sure that they're not paying us forever.
No. Okay. So, Lou, can you mute your phone?
Okay, hold on.
And I give you your response. Okay, so the question that was raised was, how long will the company be paying us? The company will continue to pay you as long as there's playership, and I can tell you why. The current model, and I suggest that all of you look at your comp plan, and all of you look at your actual back office to kind of get some of the questions, to get some of the answers to this on your own. But also, the purpose of this comp plan is based on you getting a dime off of every dollar that is made. Okay, and that's paraphrasing. You're getting a dime off of every dollar that is made. There is no end to making money. every week, every day, every time there's a sporting event, money is made to the company. If you are affiliated with anyone within that player network that you have either recruited them or they are in your downline as a player, you will continue to make that dime. Now, again, if you're familiar with the comp plan, you understand that if this is a second-tier downline, you will only get a nickel off of everyone who is playing. But again, that's more so depending on how your group is set up. But ultimately, to the question at hand, it really is, I hate to say infinity, but it's something that you possibly can pass down to your kids. I would recommend getting a trust. Hopefully that answers your question, Lou. Anyone else?
Thanks.
No questions?
Yeah, I got another one too.
Okay.
So I saw the app, right? So are those like I never play fantasy football, so I don't know the extent to which how they bet, but I saw the app, and when I saw the app, I saw its bet. Now, are those all the existing bets that, or are those are just some examples? Because I thought that those bets, I didn't think the game was exciting as I initially thought before I saw that.
Okay, and so when you mean bets, I'm assuming that you're referencing the predictive calls that happen while the game is on, or are you talking about the pregame mode? Because there are two different game modes. If you've seen, there's this one game mode that you can do prior to a game comes on, where you sort of answer a few questions based on just like I don't know if you're familiar with the term prop betting, but just sort of like just making bets on random things about the game, penalties, just the combined score, and therefore. Now, as it relates to gameplay and the active game mode, so your question was more so can you repeat that question again? Lou, I think that was Lou.
I was just asking, what was that the extent of the bet? Was that it, or was that just an
you mean
example?
The actual questions? Yeah.
Right, or was that an example? Because I actually didn't find that. I didn't feel that would keep me playing the game. The questions that day.
That's a great question. So first, and I want to do a follow-up to that response. So, yes, though there are more than just those questions. The questions that you will see will be situational. There is a repository of over 1,000 questions that you may get based on the current situation within that game. Given the momentum of that game, you will get random questions every time there is random questions every time, there's an exchange of possession. And this is just referencing the football game because that's what it's going to be released to. So it's going to be different once soccer, basketball, and so forth. But let me tell you why the exciting part. For those of you who play fantasy football, it's important to know what you really get. Can we mute our phones, please? For those of us who play fantasy, or those of you, and I include myself, who play fantasy football, it's important to kind of know where the excitement is in fantasy football. So fantasy football, once you get to 1 o'clock on Sunday, or maybe 8 o'clock, 8:30 on Thursday, depending on your lineup, you really have no control over the game once you have locked in your team. There's nothing else you can do. There's nothing else nothing you can change in your lineup. You are pretty much stuck with whatever the outcome of that game is, and you get the results and points from that outcome. From that result. Now, as it relates to this game, the only time you actually get it, and I'm sorry, with it relates to fantasy football, the exciting part once you are locked in is when you see that you're about to get major points, when you see that your quarterback is going to connect with your wide receiver that you drafted to in the end zone, and you're going to get double the touchdown points. And so now you're excited because they're on the 20-yard line, and you're just hoping that they pass that Romo passes it to Dez Bryant. That's what you're hoping. And it's that feeling in your stomach that you're just like, man, I knew that was going to happen because I drafted him 2 months ago. Well, they've taken that experience and put it into the game, and that's what you're going to feel for the entire game, not just when your players are on the 20-yard line, but you're going to get that experience throughout the entire game. So what's going to happen is that now you're watching the Detroit Lions and a Dallas Cowboys game, and Matthew Stafford and the Lions approach the field. Before they get on the field, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, as you've seen in the demo. Hey, are they going to throw for 20 yards? Are they going to throw an interception? Will there be a fumble? Will they have an offside penalty during this drive? Well, once you complete those random questions, now what happens is that feeling comes back. The same feeling that you were looking for when you were trying to hope that your quarterback connected with your tight end. It's because now you have something to play for. You're watching a drive hoping that everything you just predicted happens. You're hoping that he throws for 20 yards because you said, yeah, he will. You're hoping that that they don't have an offside because you said, no, they won't. So every time they snap the ball, you are sitting there hoping that your prediction came true. And once they do come true, it gives you that feeling of valor, like, yeah, I got the right answer. And now your points go up. And now imagine if you're not just you're sitting by yourself doing that. It's fun. But imagine if you're in the room with 20 people. You're in a room with 20 people and everybody answered the question different. And now you guys are talking smack back and forth because somebody got the right answer and the other people didn't. That's what makes it fun. And not imagine, take it a step further, that you get really good at the game and you get so good that you're the best you can see that you're the best in your city. And because you're the best in your city, you're going to be able to get prizes because your favorite team is the Phoenix Suns. And because you're in that city, you ultimately win Phoenix Sun tickets. That is what makes it fun. So I don't know if
do players know what they're aiming for, like what they could win? Is it shown, like, if I get this many coins, I get this? Or because what you just said, how you can win stuff, and I didn't know none of that. So I mean, I always heard you could win stuff. I just don't know what. And with that said, is do the players know while they're playing because if I knew how many coins I needed to get a trip or some tickets, that would be my aim. So do players know, or is it listed for players to see how many coins equals a trip or some tickets or et cetera?
Well, keep in mind, this isn't about coins at that point. This is about points. So tokens get you into the game and allow you to get points. So because you have the highest point total is what allows you to actually get some of the incentives that come with that. Now, to your point, how do they know what they can get? It really depends on their demographic and how they set their profile up. Because once you come in, and this is shown in the demonstration, but once you come into the app, you will see you'll make your profile. You will tell them what's your favorite sports. You will tell them what's your favorite team. You will do all this demographic type information where based on what's available that may cater to your team, that may cater to a certain time of the year. So say, for instance, your team just happens to get into the playoffs, right? You may be in California, but your team may be the Miami Heat. And so now you're possibly competing with all Miami Heat fans that could potentially win playoff tickets because you have such a high score and you have multiple points. You're beating out everybody in your local area. So it really depends on how your profile is set up to see what you'll be eligible for. But you will be able to see that. You will be alerted to what's available as you get near some of those milestones.
I had a question too.
Hello?
Yeah, I had a question. This is Marcus.
How you doing?
All right, I had two questions actually. First one, you said you just started off your fantasy league and you lost. Who'd you lose to? And the second question is, well, if I'm playing this game by myself, I mean, it sounds like there's like rooms or something where you can play against a lot of random people that you don't know. Is that how this works? Like you saying, sometimes you can see Evander Holyfield jumps on. Is that if he jumps into the Cowboys and Redskins game? Like, how does it work as far as interacting with other people?
Correct. So I'll deal with your first question last, if you don't mind. So, the way that will work is that the way that will work is that it will actually be rooms that you sort of suggested. So when you come into the app, and you can see this on the demo, there will be sort of leagues, if you will. There will be like the Washington, D.C. League, and they're playing the Detroit Lions and the Washington Redskins game. And so based on how many tokens you have, if you have enough tokens, you can enter that game and play. So you can play with random people, but you can also start your own game. You can invite your own friends to play and say, hey, you reach out to all your buddies and say, hey, come play with me, and we're going to watch the Redskins and the Detroit Lions game. So, yes, there will be multiple rooms where you can go in and play with random people. Now, to your first question, I did actually lose to some individual, which I will admit was you, but I think it's fair to say that you had the highest points in the league this week, and I had the second highest. So, that's fair. I lost. It was a bad week for me, but we both had the two highest scores, so I'll take that.
Okay. Thank you for both of them.
I'm sorry?
Yo, Izzy, I got a question for you.
Okay, I didn't hear I don't know if you followed up with that, Marcus, but yeah, I'll see you next week, buddy. Next question?
Yeah, this is Sante. I had a question. I heard you mention that people have already started, I guess, joining or adding players or gaining players. How is this possible when the game hasn't even been released yet?
So one of the things that that's a good question, because I think that people may just take that reason for granted why we have players and there's no game yet. So two things. To be viable in the app market, you actually have to have at least 250 downloads in your first week. Pokemon had 250 downloads. I'm sorry, you have to have 50,000 downloads. Pokemon Go had 250,000 downloads in their first week. But if you don't have 50,000 downloads, you're not viable. Hence, if you guys who may have been in this for a long time, the initial goal was for the company to only get 50,000 affiliates. During the conference, we were over 200,000 affiliates worldwide, and at least one in every country. Now, to that extent, it's important for them to make sure that they can crush Pokemon Go. What they are doing is they're getting players or getting their affiliates to get players, and also making affiliates, because you are a player too. All affiliates are technically players. They just get money while they're playing. But the reason why they're having pre-registered players is because they're going to give incentives to those individuals who are actually just waiting for the game. But so no one has played anything, but you can actually sign people up who will be alerted once the game is launched. So that way you can guarantee that you have individuals who can download the game the moment it's launched. You're sort of stacking the deck to make sure that on that first week you're going to blow it out the water. I can tell you right now, that first football game, if nothing else, let's just say that the app crashes and it's a terrible app and nothing comes from it, I can guarantee you that first week you're going to have at least 300,000 people playing the app. The question is, of those 300,000, how many people are in your player network? So did I answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, this is Deborah. And I want to find out, is there a way to send this box segment to someone that you may want to be an affiliate?
I'm sorry, is there a way to do what?
To send this particular recording of this Vox segment to someone who's not able to be on it at the time that you may want to sign up as an affiliate?
Yes, I will be putting this in Boxer. Are you in Boxer?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this will be shared in Boxer. I would encourage you all to get with your team leaders to get a copy of this recording once we're done here.
Okay, so I got a question. So for clarity, like, so if before the app starts, and I have a lack of players, but I have the ability to get players during games, I still get paid even after I add players after the stop, right? Anybody that add after the stop, I still get paid as a player. They're a player, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, how do we know who our team leader is and all of that you were saying?
Well, whoever brought you on, that's who I would reach out to.
Okay, now listen. All this information that you're giving us, is all of that accessible on the website?
Some of the information is not on the website because a lot of this stuff is more strategy, but the majority of the information about the company, their goals, how you'll get paid, how the company operates, that stuff is on the website. A lot of the other information can be found in Boxer.
Yeah.
But either way, you have resources to get everything you need. And if you don't have it, I would reach out to your team leader, make sure that he can access it for you. And if he doesn't have it, reach out to me. One thing that, and I don't know if I glossed over this a little bit too fast, but it's important that we think about the opportunity to sign people up for free who have youth organizations, 501c3s, and other nonprofit organizations because they can be a part of this for free.
Wait, what's what was that acronym you just said? 501(c)(3)? What's that?
501c3.
What is that?
501c3s are nonprofit organizations. So let me just give you an example of one of the people on one of the affiliates on my team. They actually work for a nonprofit organization, and so we were having a discussion, and he was saying that he brought it to his board, but he didn't think that they would be interested in it because he was thinking about bringing it to his board, but he didn't think they would be interested in it because what they do is they only deal with the homeless. Okay, so he didn't really see how a sports app could be accessible or something that could be of value to his organization. So the one thing I asked him, I said, well, hey, do you get foundational donorship or do you get private donorship? He said, well, we get private donorship. And I told him, I said, well, you have individuals already who are wanting to contribute to your organization. Just imagine if, as an organization, you had your private donors download the app. But let's take it a step further. Imagine if you told your private donors that, hey, if you play this with your friends, all of your network, all of your personal contacts will be contributing to the same cause that you see value in. That's a different conversation. That's a different discussion. That changes a person's actions. If I am a person who avidly contributes to the homeless cause every year, I write a big check, and I knew that all of my friends who I'm probably either directly or indirectly wanting them to contribute to the same causes that I'm for, I would love to have the opportunity for them to indirectly contribute to that cause, and they're going to still have fun and not even feel it from their pocket. That's the kind of strategic discussions that should be happening with organizations. Those are the kind of pictures that you have to paint when you're talking to organizations who have an opportunity to blow this thing up. It's more than just who you're talking to. It's about who could they possibly be talking to? How could they possibly influence this entire thing and really make it a better situation for you? Like I mentioned before, I've just gotten. Now, one thing I will say, it did take a week for United Games to get my nonprofit all squared away, and I still have another step that I have to take, and that's something that we can talk about on a one-on-one basis for those of you who are involved or interested in that type of approach. But once you have that nonprofit, it's endless when you talk about players. That's an affiliate who you don't have to tell them. What nonprofit is not going to want to have a free fundraiser? I actually, as I mentioned before, I saw a guy this past weekend. He was outside the grocery store with all the trophies from his boxing organization trying to get a trip to Vegas, hoping people give him a trip to Vegas. I got out the car, donated, and then gave him my card and said, give me a card and I can guarantee you never have to do this again. That's the kind of change you can make.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say, for instance, I want to donate $1,000 to this organization. How do I go about doing that?
So let me ask you this, Israel. So if you do make a connection with a nonprofit, does United Game serve as a sponsor for that organization, or is it just what is the exact relationship between the nonprofit and United Games?
So the relationship is that they are going to be. So think about this, and I had to kind of think long and hard. Like, why would they let people just come in and make money off their company for free? But the answer is simple. They are going to be essentially donating money to a nonprofit that now becomes a write-off for the company. If I was a company that's going to be making $1 for every token, and I'm only paying affiliates 10 cents. I would love to have a bunch of people a bunch of players that come from nonprofits, and I can justify that write-off for my company. So the relationship is more so a donor to the company, if you put it bluntly. Because I've cut a check to Red Cross or whomever you're with.
So as an affiliate, you can write off any money made through that nonprofit as you can write that off as a tax write-off. Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's be clear. The money that's given to the nonprofit is however the nonprofit does their books. The money that you make off the nonprofit is still your income, and you have to still fill out your 1099 for that purpose. But so what the nonprofit gets doesn't justify you as being able to make a nonprofit, because you're getting the same money as if it was any other affiliate. It just so happened that one of your affiliates is a nonprofit that has a ton of players that can bring your way. But that's another point as you bring up taxes. For those of you who have had access to the Google Drive, I strongly suggest. You already know this if you have access, but I strongly suggest to each and every one of you to make sure that you get your business in order, meaning complete or at least establish a limited liability corp, an LLC, because when the money starts to come, it's going to be so nice until the tax season comes. You have to make sure you're protecting your investment. And I don't want anybody calling me or contacting their team lead saying, "Man, I just got an IRS bill for X amount of dollars," and it was all because you didn't make sure that you sheltered your money the appropriate way and got with the right accountant the appropriate way. Again, this is not a hustle. This is a business, and we should treat it as such.
I got a question. This is Bijan.
How you doing, Bijan?
Okay, after the pause, can you still add nonprofits?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's a great question. That was raised at the conference, and they asked that question, and the answer to that is yes, you can. Because theoretically, keep in mind, one thing that makes an affiliate different than the player is that they have paid $29.99 and they pay a $9.99 monthly hosting charge. Well, nonprofits don't do that. So the way that you should look at nonprofits is almost like getting a group of players all at one time. And one thing that I'm going to be working on is sort of coming up with some type of resource to help people identify nonprofits, help people be able to know how to approach nonprofits. Another thing that you have to consider, and I haven't spoken on this, but I know some of you may have thought about it on your own, sports bars. If you know anyone, if you have any affiliation with sports bars, this is something that they need. Every Sunday, you have individuals who go into the sports bar and they suck up the Wi-Fi, looking at the fantasy lineup, watching TV, and the company in the sports bar doesn't even get paid on it. Imagine if they could still watch their fantasy scores, but also the entire bar is playing the same game that was sponsored by the sports bar, and at the end of the season, the bar gave away $1,000 because they probably just made $150,000 over the course of the season. Because not only do you have individuals who are playing while they're in their bar, but when they go home and they share it with their friends that can be in other states, other cities, those people are still paying the sports bar. This is something that you all have to really consider.
Hey, listen. For the nonprofits, they come on as affiliates, right?
They are looked at as affiliates, but systematically viewed as players. Yes, systematically, because you don't pay a $29.99 fee. You don't have to pay any money, but theoretically, you will speak to them in a money-making way. You will be approaching them, and this goes back to the idea about the dichotomy between game versus business. Most players, you don't want to talk about the business. Most affiliates, or most people who you're looking to be affiliates, that's when you talk about the business. So in a sense, they are going to be looked at as affiliates, but they will not have to pay anything. I mean, you're going to talk to them initially about the business, though.
Right, but but after they become an affiliate, they get the same pay tier as us, right?
They get the same pay period?
The same tier. They get paid the same way we do.
Absolutely. But
right.
I mean, and again, if a nonprofit decides to bring on an affiliate, it just better be before the pause.
Right, but you just said that they can still come on after the pause.
No. I'm saying if they decide to bring on an affiliate themselves. So if I own a nonprofit and I think that it's something that a good friend of mine can do, they can bring on another affiliate, but it has to be prior to the pause. So if you don't have a nonprofit right now, then the likelihood of them getting a nonprofit in your downline and then having them bring on an affiliate is likely not going to happen.
Am I the only one misunderstanding? Because I thought that you just said that an affiliate, a nonprofit organization can still come on after the pause. But then you just said that a nonprofit organization that's an affiliate can't bring on another one after the pause. So should they just refer me?
No, a nonprofit affiliate, using your terminology, cannot bring on another single person as an affiliate. If that nonprofit would like to bring on additional nonprofits as an affiliate, that can happen, but not another person.
But they can bring another nonprofit organization on after the pause.
Correct. Correct.
All right. So Izzy, I got another question too, as it relates to us being affiliates. Because we are considered affiliates, is that the same thing as being considered an investor? Are we considered to be investors inside with the company, United Games?
You are considered to be a contracted worker, hence why you fill out a 1099. You are someone who they are contracting to do a service. You are someone who you're taking your social networks and leveraging them to help promote their product. So you will not be. Go ahead.
The reason why I was asking, because I was wondering about our fees that's associated with being an affiliate. I was wondering if we can write those off. Well,
you absolutely can. But see, you're writing those off not as an investor with the company, but you're writing those off as a contracted business that has expenses to do your job.
Okay.
So that's a different. I just want to make sure that that's understood. That's a different sort of dynamic when you're writing off because I do that now with other ventures that I have. I write off my hosting costs for my websites. Mm-hmm. Which I think I'm paying entirely too much for, but that's a whole other conversation.
Well, who's your IT guy?
I have some bad friends around me. So. Any other questions?
Wait, so just for clarity, because it sounds too good to be true. So you're saying I can go to the coach or whoever the head of the nonprofit organization and say, check this out. I've got something where you can fund your own trips. All you got to do is get the moms and dads to play, and the organization can earn that way. Is that thinking correct?
Absolutely.
Man, that is crazy. All right, excuse me. All right, peace out, man. Good conversation. I'm out of here. I'm headed to a park looking for a coach.
Okay, so the hour is now 10 o'clock. I don't want to delay anyone's time. I know you guys, it's getting pretty late here on the East Coast. So if there are no further questions, I'll ask one more time. And if they're not, I bid you all a good night. Make sure that you guys make every effort to get with your team leaders and become a member of Voxer, get access to the Google Drive, get access to anything you need. Work with your team members to get access to me if you need somebody to speak to about something further that you may come up with a question after you hang up. But if that is it, you guys have a great night. Boom, baby.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.